Hello, habitat scientist. Remember, we have been learning all about how seeds get dispersed in different habitats. And today we're going to go and travel to a few more habitats just to really continue developing our ideas about how seeds spread and how plants and animals need each other. They depend on each other to get some of their needs met. We've already visited the mountain habitat and the broadleaf forest habitat. Today we're going to go to a city park, just like Central Park, the desert in the Sonoran Desert, and we're going to Florida to the Everglades. The book we're going to be reading is our favorite book, that Handbook of Habitats, and I've attached the link and also a copy of that book so that you can reread the book yourself when you pause the video to do your activities. You're going to find the seed dispersal in different habitats page, and you're going to be recording your purpose for reading. So what do you think it is that we are going to look for in this habitat handbook today? Absolutely. You think we're going to be wondering and trying to put together all of the clues to figure out how seeds get moved around in different places? You are right. Well, we're going to go to the city park right now, and that, if you look at the table of contents, a New York City park is on page 40. I've attached that page right here for you. Okay, so remember, you're going to write, my purpose for reading is to learn about how seeds get dispersed in habitats. And we are going to the city park and learning about the acorn. We've been talking a lot about acorns, and I imagine that you already want to tell me, Miss Suhan, squirrels definitely move acorns around. Well, you know what? There's a whole section in the city park animal page all about squirrels. Let's read that page right now. The book says squirrels eat nuts and seeds, including a lot of acorns. Acorns are only made by oak trees in the fall. Squirrels hide acorns all over their habitat to eat throughout the year. So the book says that squirrels eat acorns and hide them. How do you think acorns are dispersed? Yeah, the squirrels move the seeds around because they're collecting the acorns, which is their food, and they are hiding them, stockpiling them for the winter because they're hibernating and they want to be able to have their food supply stable. Excellent. Let's write that in our sheet. So we're going to write squirrels hide and forget them. And I wrote that right here. Squirrels eat acorns and hide them. Maybe, and also I was talking with a few scientists the other day, and we were thinking that maybe acorns also move because water could move them. So if you have additional theories or ideas that you'd like to jot in that box, feel free to do that. Okay, and we definitely know for sure from the Handbook of Habitats that squirrels do hide the acorn. So you're going to write that. Okay, now you're going to read about animals in the Sonoran Desert in the Handbook of Habitats. You're going to learn about the mesquite seed, and I want you to figure out how you think the mesquite seeds are dispersed. Okay, in your lesson, this page it's going to show you exactly what you need to read all about to learn more about mesquite trees. So I want you to pause the video and read this to yourself right now. So you read something about the mesquite seeds. What did you learn? That's right. Mesquite seeds form in long pods. So if you think about a snow pea, or if you think about a sugar snap pea, that would be a pod. Okay. And you learned that animals eat the seed pods, and that within the seed pods there are a few different seeds. Good. Now, you're going to read the section on the Sonoran Desert animals to figure out which animals feast on the seed pods. Pause the video and read the section so that you can figure out how the seeds of the mesquite tree get spread around in the desert. Wow. Desert animals are pretty intriguing, right? They're really interesting. So which animals eat the seed pods for the mesquite tree? Yeah, the coyote and the mule deer. So in that box, you're going to be recording what you read. So coyotes and mule deer eat the seed pods. When the coyote or deer leaves a dropping, What could happen to those seeds? You think the seeds might be in the dropping? Excellent. So we have lots of ideas that we're constructing by reading an expert source and by thinking about all of the lessons and activities we've done up until this point. Good work. All right, scientists, make sure you've written your information down. You can pause the video to do that, and you can also go back and pause the screen to where you saw those words written so that you can get them written down too. All right, next up. Let's go to the Everglades. If you like Florida, you might have been to the Everglades. The Everglades are a special wetland in Florida. So now we're going to read about the gumbo limbo trees. Pause the video, and I want you to do that. This is a beautiful tree. Say gumbo limbo tree. Gumbo limbo tree. Excellent. Read about the gumbo limbo tree and then see if you can figure out which animals help spread the seeds of that tree. Awesome. So what did you figure out about how gumbo limbo seeds are dispersed? That's right. A special kind of bird called a vireo actually helps to spread the seeds because the vireo eats the fruit of the gumbo limbo tree. Good thinking. All right, this is my sheet. This is how I've written my idea. Vireos eat the fruit from the gumbo limbo trees. When the bird leaves droppings, the seeds might be in the dropping. Remember, vireo is the name for that bird. Sometimes in science, we like to get really specific and name the actual bird or insect or mammal or reptile we're talking about because there is such an incredible array of creatures on the planet. We have so many of them. So I really want you to try to learn some of the names for our complex animals and plants and microorganisms on our planet. Okay, now I have a special video for you that teaches you more and kind of will probably wow you and excite you. It teaches you more about how different animals need each other and help each other. They depend on each other. This is an idea in science that we call mutualism. Now, as second graders, mutualism is a really huge science vocabulary word, but it's more like a fifth grade word. So I just wanted to share it with you because I thought you might like to hear it. So why don't you say that? Mutualism. Mutualism. That is the way that biologists talk about how animals or plants in a habitat depend on each other. There's something that one animal does for the plant and what that plant does for an animal. So if you want to learn about that, watch this special video in the lesson. Okay, now we know we need to communicate and say our ideas so that we confidently use evidence to back up our thinking. And you know that when we talk, sometimes I'm asking a question and I'm listening for your answer. If you're at home doing this lesson, which you are because it's the at-home lesson, you are going to practice speaking to a partner. Remember, your partner can be a family member, a friend, a classmate that's on the phone with you, a stuffed animal, or even a pet. So let's talk. If there were no vireos in the Everglades habitat, what do you think would happen to the gumbo limbo seeds? Pause the video and practice saying your idea. I'm sure you practice saying your idea, so here's one way you might have said it. If the seeds don't get dispersed by vireos, they might not get to a good place to grow into full-grown plants. You also might have said something like, maybe the seeds won't move. Or maybe another part of the habitat could help the seeds, but if the seeds don't get to a place where they can grow their roots, get the light and water they need, they won't grow. So the vireos help the gumbo limbo tree to grow because they spread the seeds. So we know that the gumbo limbo tree needs the vireos to spread their seeds, probably, right? Now let's think about what would happen to the vireos if there were no gumbo limbo trees. If there were no gumbo limbo trees in the Everglades habitat, what might happen to the vireos? Pause the video, practice saying your idea, and when you're ready, press play again. Scientist, I'm sure you said something like, the vireos would not have the food they need if there were no gumbo limbo trees. The gumbo limbo trees make fruit, and the vireos eat that fruit. If there were no gumbo limbo trees, What would the Vireos eat? Maybe the Vireos would not be able to survive because they don't have their food source. So all of this together means that gumbo limbo trees depend on vireos to disperse their seeds, and the vireos depend on gumbo limbo trees for food. That is mutualism. Okay, from our reading and investigations, we figured out a key concept. So stick a key in the door, turn it, and say this after me. Are you ready? Some plants depend on animals to disperse their seeds. Your turn. Some plants depend on animals to disperse their seeds. Yeah. And finally, these animals depend on the plants for food. Awesome. Okay, scientists. Now, you read, you spoke, you were thinking, you were putting all the information together. Now it's your turn to write a fantastic scientific explanation. And you're going to explain to me how the oak tree depends on a certain fuzzy animal with a furry tail, and how that squirrel depends on a certain tree that makes an acorn. You're also going to tell me about how in the desert mesquite tree depends on a certain animal and how that animal depends on the mesquite tree. Just practice writing these sentences and explaining how the plant and animal help and depend on each other. I'm looking forward to seeing your ideas, reading them, and seeing you really soon. Thank you for working hard and for always trying your best. See you soon, scientist.